Have you ever felt like you were running at full speed on an endless treadmill, only to realize you were going nowhere? That was Leo's life, a talented violinist living in the heart of the magnificent New York City. He was one to prodigy, someone who could make the violin sing melodies that stirred the soul. But now, at 30, those melodies had become lost amidst the skyscrapers and the relentless pace of life. The pressure of performances, the fierce competition, and the obsession with creating a timeless masterpiece had turned his music into a burden. The violin he once loved was now merely a tool to make a living, and every time he drew the bow, he felt a terrifying emptiness. The joy in his music had vanished, replaced by fatigue and self-doubt. He lived in a luxurious apartment with a view of the entire city, yet he felt more alone than ever. He had thousands of fans on social media, but not a single person to share his true feelings with. One fateful morning, while preparing for an important concert, Leo suddenly found his right hand trembling uncontrollably. The violin slipped from his grasp, falling to the floor with a dry thud. The doctor diagnosed him with essential tremor, a neurological disorder caused by prolonged stress. He advised Leo to temporarily halt all performances, rest, and find balance in his life. Leo's world collapsed. Music was everything he had. It was his reason for living, his very identity. Losing the ability to play, he felt like a rudderless ship in a vast ocean. In the days that followed, he sank into despair. The luxurious apartment became a prison, and the violin lay silent in the corner, a mockery of his helplessness. He canceled all his shows, disconnected from his friends, and drowned in a terrifying silence. Unable to bear the suffocating stillness, Leo decided to leave the city. He sold most of his possessions, keeping only his violin, and embarked on a journey with no destination. He wandered through peaceful countrysides, through small towns he had never even heard of. One afternoon, while sitting by a picturesque lake, he heard the distant sound of a bamboo flute. The sound was simple, rustic, yet it held a pure, strange joy. Curious, he followed the music and met Mr. Kenji, an old flute maker who lived alone in a small wooden house. Mr. Kenji didn't know that Leo was a famous musician. He only saw a young man with sad eyes and offered him a cup of tea. Leo told him his story. Mr. Kenji listened in silence, then pointed to the small garden in front of his house and said, "You see, every flower, every leaf has its own beauty. One doesn't have to be a brilliant rose to spread fragrance. Sometimes just being a wild daisy by the roadside is enough to beautify the world." In the following days, Leo stayed with Mr. Kenji. He didn't touch his violin. Instead, he learned to tend the garden, listen to the birds singing every morning, feel the scent of the earth after the rain, and gaze at the twinkling stars in the night sky. He realized that the world was filled with countless other sounds and beauties that he had long missed. He began to find joy in the smallest things: the sweetness of a cup of tea, the warmth of the morning sun, Mr. Kenji's gentle smile. One day, Mr. Kenji gave Leo a piece of bamboo and told him to try making a flute. Leo hesitated, but then began the work clumsily. For the first time in months, he focused entirely on something unrelated to pressure and expectations. He carved, drilled holes, and test blew it. The sound was distorted at first, but gradually it became clearer. When the first flute was finished, Leo played an impromptu melody. It wasn't a complex or technical piece, but simple notes that reflected his feelings at that moment: peace, gratitude, and a small joy sprouting in his heart. Mr. Kenji smiled and said, "Music doesn't only come from grand concert halls. It's everywhere, in the sound of the wind, the stream, and in your very breath. Happiness is the same. It's not a destination, but a journey of discovering simple joys."
Mr. Kenji's words were like a ray of light that illuminated Leo's mind. He suddenly understood that for so long he had been searching for happiness and recognition somewhere far away, forgetting that it was always present right around him. He took out his violin, wiping away the thin layer of dust. His hand still trembled slightly, but his heart was no longer heavy. He began to play, not a sophisticated classical piece, but the melody of the garden, of the birdsong, of the conversations with Mr. Kenji. The notes soared, full of life and joy. It was the most honest music he had ever created.
Leo did not return to the grand stage. He chose a quieter life. He still performed occasionally, but not in luxurious theaters. He played in small-town squares, hospitals, and orphanages. His music was no longer for seeking fame, but for sharing joy and comfort. He taught children how to make music from simple objects, helping them discover that everyone can be an artist in their own way. Leo had found his life's masterpiece, not in a grand symphony, but in his own transformation. He learned that happiness is not a prize to be won, but the little joys we collect every day. And sometimes, to find the most beautiful melody, we must first learn to listen to the silence and cherish the simple notes of life.